Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Mike, KO4PDI, the Ham Fun Guy. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for some fun with ham radio, like watch me make the back disappear. Ooh, yeah, exciting, isn't it? Tonight, we have a very special set of guests. These are guys I hung out with on Saturday during field day down in Lake County, Florida, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do. Remember, look at the comments on these videos, and you can... That's IO 117 rising, which in the background, I'll be playing with that. But you won't see that. This is what it will look like when I do it. But I'm not going to do that right now. Right now, we're going to talk about our guests. We have here Rodger, who I met on a satellite pass, who had been emailing me back and forth, and I've been helping him out, working with the SAT box and doing satellite passes. And then we have also his buddy Det, who was with him when he made his RS-44 contact during field day and got 100 points bonus for it, which was really cool. And we also have the president of that Lake County Amateur Radio Association club, Glenn. He's here with us too. And we're all going to talk about field day and how it went. But first, I want to introduce you to, oh, by the way, anybody in the chat, you got anything you want to ask us about field day, about satellites, about anything, just go in the chat. Also, don't forget to check the notes underneath this video and on all my videos for discounts you can get on EMP Shield, Ham Radio Prep, ABR Industries. You can get 10% off cable if you want to buy coax. Everybody needs coax, right? And also SLNT, which should go through. I'm still working with them, but it should be working. Use the code HAMFUN. You get 10% off Faraday bags. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to jump on right now, and I'm going to invite to the stage Mr. Rodger. Kilo Victor 4 Alpha India. Kilo Victor 4 India. How you doing, Rodger?
I'm doing great. Great to be here.
What you see behind Rodger is a Yaesu 5500 rotor with an Alaskan Arrow Alaskan antenna that we use to make our contacts during field day. So, Rodger, what got you into satellites?
Well, my friend Det, who is on here with me, is the one that got this whole ball rolling last year during field day. He had his set up, and we stood out there in the sun and tried to make the 100 bonus points, and we got overwhelmed with the people with the higher power and such. And so this year, the two of us have diligently worked to overcome all the deficits, and we I purchased the equipment. Ed and I have been practicing, and of course, as we've been watching your videos, I've been corresponding with you as well as with the SAT tracker. But I bought the 9700, the Yaesu rotator, got the SAT tracker, the Alaska Arrow was sort of last minute because it seemed like the Arrow 2 that I did have was just not good enough, but I wanted something portable. And if you watch the video, even though we had access to generators, everything we did was battery operated, including the rotator controller. It was a practice attempt to see if we can go out in the field, which we plan to do when it gets cooler, to set it up and do totally portable battery operation satellite. That's the goal.
Right. I think it's a valiant effort. And let's bring Det on right now. He's sitting here. And Det, you did good. I was commenting to Rodger before we went live how excited he got during the pass. And I was like, you were the calm one sitting next to him. And he was getting giddy. He was getting like jacked up over this satellite. And it was so funny because he kept saying to me, we got 6 minutes. I said, no, you got a whole... I didn't realize he was saying until field day actually started. And what's miraculous is he got his contact 4 minutes into field day. We had the satellite contact. Absolutely. And he was so giddy about that because he had gotten skunked last year. He told me. So he was all excited. So, Det, how'd you stay so calm during that?
Well, we've been practicing before field day. We got together 2 or 3 times, and both of those occasions, I think we contacted you, and we were trying to make sure that we knew how to do this before field day so that we could get the points that you're awarded for doing this.
Right. And I got to tell you, I was, well, first of all, I have such a loving relationship with SAT, self-contained antenna tracker. That's what it stands for. It's absolutely the Rosetta Stone of ham radio satellite chasers. This thing will do everything for you, but I mean, you have to know how to use it. And you guys did fantastic. When I saw the setup you had, I said, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm at home," because except for the antennas, it's the same basic satellite setup that I use on my 9700, which was pretty interesting to see. And I love the enthusiasm. I mean, that is what does it for me. I mean, you had to see me. Roger, just so you know, there's nothing to be ashamed of how excited you got that day. You had to see me in my driveway. It was like 90 million degrees outside. I got an Allowance HD1 HT and an Arrow 2, and I'm holding it in my hand, and I'm talking, and I'm pointing it in the sky where I think it's supposed to be, and somebody said my call sign back to me. I almost fainted. I was like, "Oh my God, it worked," you know, and it blew my mind. And that's what keeps me going with satellites. I did a video, oh God, it was about 2 years ago at Huntsville. I asked everybody. I asked Jason, Tank Radio, Josh. I asked all of them, what keeps you going? And for me, it's satellites. And that IO-117 has been such a thorn in my side, and I'm finally getting somewhere with it. And the sense of accomplishment I feel when I do that is incredible, which is what you guys felt on field day when you made your contact. Did you expect to make the contact, and you said you got like 7 more, right, Roger?
We got 9 total. I was quite worried about it because the passes were low over the horizon. They were not over, the 2 days before they were going right overhead, and I was going, "Oh, we're going to make it." And then we started looking at what the passes were, and it was kind of low. And the fascinating thing is on that, the one we got, I think we're like at 6 degrees when we made the contact. Just before, and we got down to 2 and 3 degrees on some.
Yeah, you got an ISS pass too, right after the RS-4, right?
We did indeed, and as long, we had that humongous command trailer that what's 45 or 50 feet long, and so it obstructed the east side, and unfortunately, several of the passes were on the east side at about 15 degrees. So. We did have some challenges, but we heard a number of the passes, and I know that we were supposed to sort of get our one and get out of the way. But this was like a first kind of for us. We did make some contacts 2 or 3 times ahead of the of field day, but I wanted to see how I could do more, and Det, of course, did also. We learned some things, and we found some things we also still need to learn. One of them is the RIT control for single sideband. It took Det was calling, I was trying to run the RIT, and it took me a long time to find it. Of course, the blips on the waterfall were incredible because everybody was on there, but we finally made it, and we got some more contacts, but I need some more education on that. But overall, we're thrilled, just thrilled. Yeah.
Right. Well, while we're here, and we have another guest tonight, Glenn, who is the president of your Amateur Radio Association. Hey, Glenn, how you doing tonight?
Very good, Mike. Yourself?
I'm great. I'm really happy to have you guys here. Glenn, can you tell us a little bit about the facility we were at? All those trucks and the antennas and a Cybertruck. I was like, what else could they throw at us today? The Cybertruck wasn't technically doing anything. It was just sitting there being pretty. But tell us about the Lake County Sheriff's Department and what they let us use there that day.
Yeah, we work very closely with the Lake County and the Sheriff's Department. We were actually at the Institute of Public Safety, their shooting and driving range. And it's a huge facility, so we're able to spread out a little bit. Still keep everything within the confines of what the rules allow. But we had the Sheriff's Department command vehicle, we had the Hofstad vehicle, we had several vehicles, all running on generator, 24/7. Boy, just the gas alone was amazing that they provided us. So it's a very, very good facility and very well laid out, and kind of gives us a ton of support. and we try to give back to the county too. So we took this opportunity to exercise their equipment, so that, they get their equipment exercised, making sure it's all working and serviceable before a major incident happens where they need it.
Yeah, we have about a 36-foot trailer here in Flagler County for emergency communications. It's empty. It has a couple of chairs and some countertops, and I'm like, we need some stuff in here, like a geocron or something like you guys had. That thing was huge. I mean,
Yeah.
our trailer looks like a pop-up camper next to a fifth wheel next to yours. I mean, it's tiny, but it is all they got. I took a picture of the truck and I sent it to Sheriff Staley. I said, "Hey, Rick, we need a bigger truck."
Then the mobile tower and all with the 85-foot tower doesn't help either.
I got a question for you, Glenn. That flatbed that had that 100-foot tower, what was that, a generator or were those just transformers on there?
There was a generator on there, too. Yep.
Those are generators. Okay, so in a blackout situation, you guys have your own setup to keep the power going.
Yes.
That's amazing. That is really. I'm sure Lake County's got a little more money than Flagler County, but I'm still going to keep pressuring Staley, and he's happy when he gets to ride his horse and go after criminals. And I'm like, Rick, we got to get a truck like this, because I work with the EOC here in Flagler County. I volunteer at times, and I got my little shirt that says Subcom and all this, but. Basically, what we do the shares. Actually, today was the day I think that they do the major statewide tests with shares and with some other stuff. And normally I'm there, but I had a luncheon that I was doing today, so I couldn't be there. But I find it's good to give back to the community in some way. So having your ham radio club so tightly wound together with the sheriff's department, that can do nothing but help. That's got to be fantastic in case you get to a situation where the comms are down and you need to be able to communicate. I couldn't get over all the little antennas on the top of that tractor trailer. I was like, how many radios they got in there? I don't even know. How many are there?
Oh, there's a lot in there. I mean, I haven't counted them. Most of my public service radios, but there is ham radios in there also.
I noticed the closet with the glass door. I figured that's where the smart stuff is that the cops use. I figured we weren't allowed to play with that. But
no, but we have a very active Aries program here in the club, and during hurricanes, we man the EOC. We're there. We man the hurricane shelters that when they open. So that's what we do. We do basically the same thing. We send somebody out to each shelter, and they can communicate with headquarters, and then the headquarters is communicate with Tallahassee on the radios that we have. What people don't realize about ham radio, by the way, just so you know, there's 9 people watching this right now. And all you 9 people that are watching, feel free to go into the chat and send us something. We got Macron here, and he's late. He's up. This is Macron. Macron's in Northern Ireland. He comes to my feed a lot, and I love seeing him here. And also JDL Speedway. Not familiar with that guy. KO4FRR. Look him up. Joe's a member of our club.
Ah, okay. Well, welcome, Joe. Come to my live feed more often. You're more than welcome to be here. So anybody's got any questions for any of these good gentlemen, please, or me, put it in the chat and we will get it on the screen and we'll try to answer anything you got for us. So we got 9 people watching. Field day is taken different ways by different people. Years ago, Flagler County used to have a very active club. And, this is why I started this channel. I went to the DX dinner in Huntsville 2 years ago. And the keynote speaker, sadly, I forget his name, but he comes out and his opening line was, "What is it with ham guys? You get 3 of them in a room and in 10 minutes you have 2 clubs." And I was like, yeah, that's exactly how it is, because everybody can do it better than everybody else and nobody wants to share and nobody wants to play nice. They all fight. And we used to have a lunch we did in town here. We go to a different restaurant every Wednesday at noon, and all the ham guys would come to be like 10, 15 guys. And all different clubs, different organizations. It was great until 2 people had a fight, and now they don't do it anymore. So I started it at the Elks Club. They have a nice buffet every Wednesday. So I invite all the hams. In the beginning, we got like 5 guys would show up. Now, I was by myself today. I had no other hams came to the luncheon. And I was like, I feel like I'm peeing in the wind. It's like what's going on here? What is it with ham guys that they can't get along? I mean, you guys were great. I love you guys.
We got 120 members that are all getting along.
Who said that? I can't
Det.
see you. Oh, Det.
We're more than that. We're closer to, we're like 140. We're up to 150 at one point, but now we're hovering around 140. And,
okay, so what do you do? Serve a little Xanax or something at the meetings to keep people from fighting?
we try to make sure we have a program every month, though. Which was kind of
Right. I'm a member of the St. Augustine Amateur Radio Society too, and I go up there for their meetings. It's a lot of fun. They have a repeater, and they have 3 guys that are lids. I'll use that word to not be vulgar. They're lids, and they get on the repeater constantly and make noises and interrupt people. They interrupt the net on Wednesday nights, which happens right after this. And I just sit there going, what brain cells are these people lacking that this gives them joy to cause a problem for somebody else? I mean, that repeater, I can't get on it during the day. I'm so tired of it. I just can't. And I offered to be the guy to do the fox hunt, to get out there and find out who it is and report it and get the evidence. They don't want to do nothing. They just, leave it alone and go away. No, I've been a member of that club for 2 years. It's getting worse. And it's sad. And
well, you need to move to our area. I'm just a dues paying member. I have no leadership responsibilities, but our leadership is a positive leadership. They are inclusive. They invite people. They help people. We have our membership chair. When it gets new hams, we give tests every month. Every new ham is given the opportunity, and many, I understand, take him up on it. But he'll bring them over to his shack. He'll give them, hands-on kinds of exposure to what opportunity might have. There are several of us, and I've been one of them. Glenn's been one. Several of our people will go to new hams' houses and help set up the antennas or radios, or try to get them a program. One of the things that Glenn started is the Tech Saturday, or leadership, whoever, I don't know who suggested, but the first Saturday at 10 o'clock of every month, it's a tech. Bring your radios. If you're a new ham, we'll program them for you. We'll walk you through it. The one that's coming up is to make a Yagi 2-meter antenna with the tape measure. And one of our tech people is, I know that there are more people. There are more people who want to be there than they have enough equipment for. So now they're saying if you want to come, you can observe, but it's already sold out, so to speak. Right. It's a positive experience. So
that's a great idea. That is a great idea. By the way, I have to apologize to Macron because his name isn't Macron. It's Iman. He's from Northern Ireland, and he goes on. You think, what it is? I see the M in his call sign. By the way, the DJT is exactly what you think it is. He likes him so much, he changed his call sign, so he has DJT in his call sign. So anyway, sorry about that, Iman. He's having a good laugh on me tonight, but that's all right. Anyway, all right, so that's a great idea. The president.
Before you go off of that, I got to give credit where credit's due. We are very lucky to have a lot of younger members coming into the club, guys in their 30s and 40s, which is nice, and it's giving us a lot more energy. And one of those guys is a person named Mike K2MRP, and he was the one that came up with that tech Saturday idea. I just take his good ideas and run with it, so and allow him to do it. And so it's people like that in the club that really are.
I have some video that you're going to love when I finally get it up there, because it takes time to edit all these videos. I was going to try to edit a few for tonight, and then I said, nah, save that for some other time, because it's very time consuming to do the editing. And I didn't want to rush it and like ski with it and Rube Goldberg, and I wanted to make it nice. So I held off on doing it. But I have a video of those 3 little girls on a Get on the Air station, and their eyes lighting up when the person on the radio said their call sign. they were like, "Oh my God, it worked!" And I knew that feeling from the first time I got a satellite. So that video is going to be coming out probably later this week.
Mhm.
I'll do that one next. And I also have a video of Rodger making his contact on RS-44. Besides Rodger's enthusiasm, which was amazing, the timing, because he's telling me, no, I want to wait. I'm like, what are you talking about? No, you got plenty of time on the pass. I wasn't paying attention to the time that field day was actually going to start. It was like right at 2:00, and he was holding off until 2:00. Well, RS-44 is a linear satellite, so you have 30,000 hertz of space to talk in, and that 30,000 hertz of space at 2:00, like that, like clockwork, like somebody flipped a switch, that waterfall lit up. There was, I don't know how many people were on there. You can get 30 people on there having a conversation because it's only 3 hertz wide, but it was not, I'm sorry, 10 at the same time can have a conversation. I've never seen that on a linear satellite light up like that. That was absolutely incredible. And he fished out a call sign and he got it. And I was like, we did it. We got one. That's all you wanted.
Another amazing thing about that pass was we only had 5 minutes left before it was going to go over the horizon. So we wanted to jump in and try to get the first satellite that came over.
Right. Well, of course, we were already on the pass before field day started. And it was during that pass. He made a couple of contacts before technically field day started. Yeah. And then right at 2:00, I think it was 2:04, we made the contact. Yeah. And we completed the QSO at 2:04:40 or something. Yeah. And I was just like, yes, that's what we wanted. And Rodger was happy, and Det gave me a high five, and I was thrilled that you guys were able to do it. And by the way, anybody watching, we got 12 people watching right now. If you got a question, go into the chat. If I say your name wrong, go into the chat and call me out on it, like Iman just did. I was working from memory, Iman. Forgive me. He's great, man. He comes on my feed all the time. What time is it in Northern Ireland right now? It's about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So he's staying up late to watch us. All right. So any of you have any suggestion? I like the suggestion about having better leadership in a club to try to organize stuff. By the way, I do a nice little presentation about satellites where I don't even use the sat box. I bring my 2 handhelds and my 2 antennas. If you ever want me to come down for your club meeting, I'd love to come join you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you did a great job on field day. I was so impressed. So let's just run down real quick. We had that giant monster truck. I guess that had to be at least a $4 million vehicle. That thing was amazing. And then you had another truck. What was that one normally used for? There was a guy in there doing 20 meters, I think.
20 meters single sideband. We were in the main command vehicle. Then the other side was 10 and 15 meters. So
okay.
We were all sharing the same tri-band using triplexes and bandpass filters.
Okay.
Then we had another truck that we had 40 meters single sideband in it. I think that was the hostage rescue hostage band. We had our own Lara trailer that we had 2 CW stations in that one. They were also sharing the same tri-band.
That was the one out in the corner, right behind the cyber truck?
Right.
Right, okay.
So we had another truck with the county truck that had our FT8 station in it. And that was out of the way a little bit because they're pretty noisy.
Yeah, I never got to see them. That would have been cool. Yeah. I never got out there.
It was
there.
We ran 24 hours. A lot of good food service was out there, and a lot of fun was had by all.
The food was excellent. I got to say that. That was the best ham sandwich I had. And what was nice is you had a nice air-conditioned room where you had to get on the air station, and I got to watch some of those kids do the get on the air, and it just rejuvenated my excitement about ham radio again when I saw that. I saw how happy they were. And I think you're right. I think we need more activities for people to do other than just sit there and listen to somebody talk for an hour. Right. There's got to be a way to keep people's interest better. The one thing we did in St. Augustine was before the eclipse, which we know we were doing radio testing during the eclipse. We wanted to see what the propagation changed when the eclipse was there and all that. But what was great is we had the St. Augustine Astronomy Society come and do a presentation on an eclipse and what happens during an eclipse. So it was interesting, and it kept everybody's attention the whole time. And I think the next one after that was me doing a little satellite presentation with people. And you'd be surprised. The president of the club said I was sucking in information like you were bringing it from a fire hose. Because people don't understand satellites, you know. My Elmer, when I heard you could talk on a satellite, I said, how do you do that? He goes, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? This guy was in the military. He was White House transportation director. He's got his extra. I took the test at his house. And what do you mean you don't know? He goes, I never did it. And I'm like, wow. So now I had to learn on my own. So become a devotee of Sean Kutzko, KX9X. That was the only guy online talking about satellites. And I had to go, I watched all his videos on DX engineering, and I learned a lot of stuff on my own. For instance, Heavens Above, GoSat Watch, and ISS Detector do not always agree on frequency, TLE data, and you have to find a source for data. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You know, if you don't know where the satellite's going to be, what are you trying to connect to? You're not going to connect to it. So yeah, there you go. That's a great book.
Yeah.
That's a great book. I didn't even look at that. I learned I'm all self-taught, but I get it. But there were a bunch of who's showing something. There are some AMSAT places you can go that have great charts and everything from telling you how to set up a handheld for Doppler effect to how to run. Because the sat box, I'm telling you, it's the least expensive thing in my shack. It's the most valuable, because without that, I'd have to really figure all this out on my own. And this thing basically does it for me. The good news is I did it myself in the beginning, so I understand what it's actually doing and how it's working.
Let's not go by the AMSAT. I should have mentioned that, because the AMSAT, well, I belong to it, or I joined it not too long ago and bought the book that showed. It's really very helpful for getting people started. But also on the sat box, you click on the status and you can go to AMSAT status. And that AMSAT status is very important for telling me, anyway, what's up and what's not. I mean, you get that feedback. AMSAT status is part of the SAT program, but you also, in the SAT program, I think you can click on it. Then you also have, does in fact ask on the SAT tracker program where you have the green and it's telling you that people are contacted. Is that through the AMSAT status, or is that separate? Do you know?
Well, first of all, I'm putting the link in the chat for AMSAT status page. It's amsat.org/status. And that you could see all the satellites that are out there, and if they're on, if they're not, if they're getting reported off, and you can find out that way. Now on the sat box, when you click on status, what it's doing is it's sending you over to the AMSAT page. But when you actually make a contact, when you log a contact on the sat box, it automatically reports it to CSN that it's active. Like if you looked at, I just realized I'm getting our AO117 is up right now. I could show you what's going on there, but no, not that one. That's the one I want. Come on, show up. Where is everything? Oh, man. Oh, it's the wrong thing. That's the one I want. Yeah. There, you can see on the screen, I got some call signs coming in. It's starting to decode. I don't know if you ever tried this one, but if you ever want to go bald, this is the one to do, because it'll drive you crazy trying to get this thing to work. But I'll just leave that running over there. But when you go to the SAT page, you watch. When you log a QSO, it automatically reports the status as active. But that's to CSN Technologies. That's not to AMSAT. So what I do is I go to AMSAT and then I file it there too. I'll go right on the AMSAT page and tell it, hey, this is what, here, I'll show you real quick. If I go to the SAT page, it's not going to light up. Never mind. Forget I tried that. Let me go back to my other screen. Yeah, so what it does is when you report it on the SAT box, it just reports it to other SAT box users. It doesn't actually put it on AMSAT. you have to physically go to amsat.org/status. You go to the bottom of the page and you can enter in the information, what satellite you were on, what time it was UTC, whether you heard it, whether you just heard a downlink, but you didn't hear it, if you don't have an uplink, or if you just had telemetry, you can put that in there and tell people. And I highly suggest, do not put Astronaut Contact unless you talk to an astronaut. If you get on there and you hear them doing a school presentation, that's not Astronaut Contact. If you talk to an astronaut, make it Astronaut Contact, Astronaut Active, or whatever it is on that page. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So this way, you know, because so many people.
Mike, I heard you say that you had some contacts with astronauts, and historical trivia. I was in a club in South Miami or South Florida, and when Owen Garrett, the first ham radio operator, flew over South Florida, we had prearranged a contact, and we had a contact with him back in the 1980s. I wasn't on the radio, but I watched it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You want to hear something really cool? I met his son this past May. ARISS celebrated 40 years of ham radio in space on the ISS, and they had a big convention down at the Kennedy Space Center in May, and I went to it. It was 5 days long. It was great. I met all kinds of astronauts. I met Owen's son was there, and he told a funny story. When he was on the space shuttle, he was going to do contacts, and all he had was an HT, a Motorola HT, and the antenna. You're going to die when I tell you this. It literally was built to fit in the window of the space shuttle, and that's how they got QSOs through the window on the space shuttle. They didn't have an antenna on the outside, and this little thing is shaped exactly like the front window on the space shuttle, and it went in there. And they had one there. I got to see it and touch it, and I saw all the antennas that are on the ISS right now. They even had the actual radio, the Kenwood 2710, and power supply. The guy that built the power supply lives in Orlando, and they needed a multi-voltage power supply. It had to be able to do 48 volts on the Russian side, and I think it was 12 volts on the American side, and a lot of stuff in between. So this is a multi-use power supply that can run basically anything up there. And it runs this Kenwood 2710. It's a great little radio. And there's videos of that on my channel. You can go back and look for it, and you can see the actual pictures of that. Sometimes I put them on my Facebook group too, which are all invited to join. Who do we got here? We got Jay, was it JN4KXO? Jay, welcome to the party, man.
Jay is a 6-time past president of our club.
Hey, Jay, get a hobby. You don't have to be the president all the time. But thanks, Jay, for doing that. You probably made that club into what it is today. So thank you. I had a great time there. I can't tell you how much fun I had that day. And you kept the water coming because it was a hot one. And the only pet peeve I wish I could have pulled my car out by that trailer. I would have had all my equipment there, and I could have just easily gotten in and out instead of walking across a football field of pavement.
Well, they wouldn't let us do that.
Huh?
The safety
sheriff's office wouldn't let us do that.
Right.
I guess they need that space in case they got to land a helicopter or two. That's a big field, a big parking lot, whatever they use it for. I guess they use it for helicopters. That's why they got it. But yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I had such a great time, and it was a great drive coming out there. I did all the back roads coming out, and then going home, I did the I-4 thing with the toll road. So I got home faster than it took me to get there, but I did enjoy the ride, though. It was a very, very nice ride from Palm Coast all the way out to you guys.
Well, Mike, we'd love to have you come out and give a presentation because we're one of the few clubs in Florida that I know of that have their own facilities.
Right.
Yep.
Do you hear that?
November 7-1.
Yes.
You just heard that? November 7-1 is a new call sign. I haven't called CQ yet, but I'm getting a lot of decodes. I'll send CQ out, see what happens. The problem with IO-117 is it's packet data, and so many people know about it ever since they said that they were going to shut it down. It was put up by Italy. That's why it's IO. That's Italian satellite. It's 3 CubeSats together, and it does packet data. And what you have to do is you have to send a CQ in packet data up to it, and it has to digipede it back to you. When they digipede it back to you, someday I'll do a whole video on this now that I'm figuring out how to use it. When it digipedes back to you, it comes up on the screen yellow. Well, once it comes up yellow, that means everybody on that satellite heard my call sign. It's coming up on their screen too. And they can now click on it and ask me to acknowledge their contact. And then I give them a 73, and that's it. That's a QSO. And I love doing it, but so many people are on it these days that you're clashing. Like you're all sending CQs at the same time, and they're not going anywhere. And it takes 10 times to get one digipede. Except now when I'm talking to you guys, I did one time I sent CQ and it came right back. So I was like, yes, I might get somebody talking to me now. But field day to me is a great time to just test your stuff and see if you know what you're doing. Because this is why people ask me, why do you get so involved in Parks on the Air? Because when I don't want to have to open a manual if I ever need my equipment in an emergency. I want to know how to do it right off the bat. And that's what makes Parks on the Air so nice. I can just go to any park, set up any antenna I want, any radio I want to use, and make it work. And it makes you versatile. You learn a lot doing that. I learned that this time of year is not a good time to do that because the bugs love me. They eat me alive. So last thing I want to do is be near water this time of year because it's crazy. But so what does this club have planned for the future? What other new stuff are you coming up with?
Oh, wow.
Your next, I know you're going to have me, which may make you famous. But
Yeah,
no.
we just had Ed Fong last month gave us a presentation on his.
Oh, I wanted one of his J poles.
Yeah.
I want to get one of them.
Actually, if you want one, I'm taking orders for him right now, so we'll talk later.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a good thing to have. No matter what you're doing, where you're going, it's 2 meters, 70 centimeter, and it's so light and small, and you just flip it up in a tree and you're ready to go. It's great. Did you see the new J pole that's made on Faraday cloth?
No, I haven't seen that one.
It literally folds up the side, smaller than a handkerchief in your pocket, and it literally it's a J pole, and it's made with Faraday material. And I don't know how they did it. I got to get my hands on one of those. I think Jason had one or Josh had one and did it on their show.
That's ultra portable there. Yeah,
oh yeah. I mean, wait, if you're doing Parks on the Air or you're doing Summits on the Air, you need something light and quick, and something that's small that you don't have to lug around. But man, we're up to 16 people watching this. Your club must like you guys. That's got to be what it is, because it's probably all guys. Anybody that's watching, there's 16 people watching right now. Please, if you have any questions or you want to say anything or you want to call somebody ugly like me, you can. Go ahead. I'm surprised that Andy's not here. Andy Cowley from England, he's one of my moderators. He's not in this chat, and I don't know why. Because I told him I was going on, and he said he was going to be here, and he never showed up. Oh, well. Anyway. So what else? Anybody got anything else they want to talk about?
Well, I was just going to mention, Glenn mentioned quickly there that we have our own clubhouse, which also means we have radios and antennas that are permanently installed there. So that gives members an opportunity to use some equipment that they might not otherwise have.
Very nice. That's way above and beyond what a lot of people do. I would love to have an organized club like that in this area, but it's really hard. There's some personalities here that are just, I don't know, thorn in my side. They're let's put it this way. There's one particular club that my friend was up at Dayton one year, and he mentioned he was from Flagler County, and they go, "You remember that club? They suck." And he was like, in Ohio, a guy's saying this club sucks. And I was like, what kind of reputation did these people do? Oh my God. But my Elmer used to be the president of that club. And when he was president, we'd have a field day that it was just like yours. Get a lot of people organized, get a lot of radios going. And I think they were second in the country in their class the year that he ran it. And that's pretty, you guys got to be way up there.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you got to be way up at the top 10 maybe, with that many QSOs.
we finished them a one in Florida a few times, and top.
That's great.
The nation. Roger, I see there's a question for you in the chat.
Yes. Is this it?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead, Roger. Tell them all about it.
It's military grade. It's just the Yaesu 5500 rotator with the Alaska version of the Arrow antenna that is, I'll try to get out a little bit out of the way, but it's just a good picture that Det took that day, but it's all portable. Everything, as I mentioned when we first started out, this was all battery operated, totally portable. That antenna breaks down into 3-foot sections, pack it up, put it in the car, and take it with you. The mast is the MFJ PAT mast, which is probably no longer available now they're out of business, but it's lightweight, fits in the car. Put the rotator on it, run the 4 cables, and with a sat box, the battery box, I'm using a 40 amp hour battery box that for 2 days, I did charge it up once, but it ran all afternoon on field day and then all the way up until 2 o'clock the second day without ever running out of power. And we had two backup batteries that we didn't need, but it worked great. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, it was a nice setup. It's basically what I have at my house, except instead of having one antenna that's 70 centimeter and 2 meter, I have a separate 2 meter and 70 centimeter. I could actually show it to you. It's tracking IO117 right now. There it is right there. That's my setup. And that's on a 40-foot mast, which will be growing soon to 50-foot. And Iman says, thanks, Roger. Yeah, it is lightweight. The rotor weighs 20 pounds. So let's just get that out of the way. It's the same rotor I have. It weighs 20 pounds. So on a short mast like that, though, it is portable. You can just take that antenna off very easily, throw it in the back of the car, and it breaks down so tiny. I think, is that a 3-section?
It is 3 sections.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, it can get pretty small. All right. Well, anybody got anything else they'd like to talk about this evening? We've been on for about 43 minutes.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about something, Mike.
Go right ahead.
When I first bought my Arrow antenna, and it was for the purpose of doing field day, and I've been doing field day 4 or 5 years in our club, and I would always go out there and I'd figure out the azimuth and where it was coming above the horizon, and I'd figure out the degrees it was up and where it was, and I changed my reception to stagger so that I would receive it properly and so forth. And I always heard everybody, and I was trying to make contacts. And I believed everybody because everybody was telling me you could do it with 4 watts, 5 watts, and nobody ever answered in all that time. Roger comes along and he says, well, let's put some power out there. So he got his set up, and we put out 50 watts, or I don't know how much you had, Roger.
It's 100, yeah.
So we finally started making some contacts, and this 5-watt HT I was using, just doesn't cut it.
Well, it's 100 watts.
You were using 100 watts, okay.
I mean, I've heard this even my Elmer said it to me. Oh, I could do it with a Baofeng. Just get 2 Baofengs, put one on 2 meter, one on 70 centimeter. Yeah, you can do that. And you know what's going to happen? When you key the mic on the 2 meter side, the third harmonic's going to blank out the 70 centimeter side. Take the 2 meter frequency, multiply it times 3. Where does it end up? 435 something. And the receive on the ISS is 435, 990. So you're not going to get it. God bless you, Glenn.
Thank you.
So what happens is you can do it with that. One time, this will make you laugh. When the Tavel satellites first went up, I was determined to try to get it on my HT. So I had, it's in the kitchen. I had my HT sitting on a kitchen counter on the Tavel frequency. Didn't even realize I had left it on with a signal stick antenna on it. And I'm sitting in here, and all of a sudden I hear it making noise in the kitchen. I'm like, what's that? It was receiving the Tavel satellites in my house, right? On just the signal stick antenna. So of course you think, wow, I can do that every time. Yeah, no, you can't. It was a freak thing that happened. However, I now have my I didn't even show you these radios. I have the Wouxun KG10H, the Wouxun KGQ10H handheld, which you can only get at buy2wayradios.com. That's the only place that sells it. But it is a full duplex quad HT and has 2 separate push-to-talks, which makes it easy to adjust one VFO for the Doppler while you're keying the mic on the other VFO on the transmit. And I'm going to try that. You ever see those? They're kind of like military antennas. They're made out of like a tape measure type material covered in rubber, and they fold up and you can extend it. It's about 3 feet long. I'm going to try to do satellites with that one day and see how it works. I have Tavel satellites programmed in that radio already. I'm going to see if I can pull it off with that. But what makes it nice is it's full duplex. It's a handheld that's full duplex, and you don't see those every day. So that's something you can look forward to. The other HT I have that's full duplex is the Kenwood THD72 or TH72D, which I was under the impression that was the holy grail of satellite radios. It's not. It works, but it's a pain to do it. It's very cumbersome, as opposed to the Wouxuns that are just push to talk. You're there. You turn in one dial and you're talking and listening to earpiece. Works great. So yeah, and when I do my presentation, I bring those with me and I show people how they work and how to program them. What makes those radios nice too is they can also be GMRS. So you can program it either ham, GMRS, or both. I have them programmed for both. So I can put GMRS repeaters on there, and I can also put satellites on there and do them both. So that's what I use them for. Around the house, I use my FT5D. I don't use that for satellites. I just use that to get to my open spots to connect to the rooms that I talk in. But I found out an old time ham told me when I first started, and I didn't have my general yet, and I was just doing repeaters and stuff like that. And he said, "That's not real radio." And I was like, "What do you mean it's not real radio? I'm making contacts. He goes, "No, you're using internet, you're using open spots, you're using, things like this. Get on HF. That's where it's at." Okay. Well, eventually I got my general, and that was another time. I get a guy in Slovenia on 100 watts on a wire. These guys, now, I have nothing against amplifiers. As a matter of fact, someday I might own one. All right. But they brag about, I talked to Russia. Yeah, well, how many watts were you using? 1,500 watts, legal limit. Yeah, do it with 100 watts and then tell me how great it was. If you could do it with 100 watts, that means you got an excellent antenna, you got an excellent radio, and now you're getting somewhere. But to do it with 1,500 watts, I mean, that's like saying, I drove a car today. Yeah, did it have power steering? Yeah. Drive a truck without power steering and power brakes and tell me how to drive. With a clutch. It's a whole different ball of wax. So yeah, I got it eventually. I figured that out, that it's not 2 meter and 70 centimeters. Great. You're just doing, repeaters locally. It's a tool. That's how I look at it. It's like a tool to make my life easier. If I get lost, I can call a buddy. Hey, I'm here. How do I get there? That's what those are for. But HF's where it's at, man. And satellites. Love my satellites. I love doing that. So
well, we did have some masochists on field day when I was helping out, giving a guy a break on. I was doing 15 meters, and 2 people in a row from 2 different parts of the country. One was, you just say, it was QRP, and the other one was 5 watts. Up in Michigan or Wisconsin or something of that nature. I mean, right. You could hear him in the background, I finally got one, one letter or something. I said, everybody else stand by. And it's, I have 5 watts. Good show. You got into Florida all the way across the country. Good.
When I'm doing Parks on the Air, if I hear somebody say QRP, I make everybody else shut up, and I just get that QRP guy. Because I know that's going to make his day. He's in Wisconsin and he's talking to a guy in Florida, QRP, and it blows their mind.
Yeah.
And That I love doing that. I loved another time. I have a Yaesu 891 in my car with an ATOS antenna, and one time I'm doing a Parks on the Air at a park, sitting comfortably in my air-conditioned car, calling out CQ, and I hear faintly in the background VK, and I'm like, "Did I hear VK?" I said, "Everybody be quiet, just the VK station. Come back." Sure enough, I got Australia from Florida, and I was like, I don't know what kind of gods were smiling down on me that day, but boy, that was impressive to get Australia from my car. I used to be happy if I talked to somebody 5 miles away on a CB, and now I'm talking to a guy in Australia from my car. It blew my mind. So this guy Imam's talking about he got Brazil on 13 watts last night. Pretty happy with that. That is pretty good, Imam. That's great. From Northern Ireland, he got Brazil. Well, he's just basically got ocean between him and them, and a lot of sky. Yeah, I get a lot of Europe. I get like I said, there's a guy in Slovenia. He's on like every night. I think I've got him like 4 or 5 times. And yeah, it's what's this Iman saying? He's with an indoor antenna. No, you didn't. You got Brazil on an indoor antenna. Damn. He knows what he's doing. All right, so we've been on for almost an hour. Anybody got any final thoughts they'd like to bring up tonight before we go?
Well, if anyone's ever in Central Florida, specifically Leesburg, stop on in to see the Lake Amateur Radio Association, and we'd love to have you as a guest.
Glenn, why don't you got a website for your club?
Absolutely. It's k4fc.org.
K4fc.org. I'm writing that down.
Charlie.org.
All right.
We do testing every month. We have active SK committee, and very active membership.
I've been trying to get my extra for a year. I failed the test 3 times. I decided I'm waiting for the new questions. I talked to Jimmy Reed. Jimmy Reed is the guy that teaches ham radio prep. The videos on ham radio prep where he's going through the lessons. That's Jimmy Reed. He's a good guy. He was with me at the ARISS convention down at Kennedy Space Center too. We had a grand old time, and I told him, I said, just you're helping make the questions. He's like, yeah. I said, you're part of that. He goes, yeah. I said, just do me a favor. Just tell them, make it relevant to what we use radios for. I'm never going to build a radio from scratch, so I don't want to know what the plate temperature is supposed to be on a tube. Like, why do I have to know that? What's an and/or gate? Why do I have to know that? It doesn't make sense to me. That's just the way I am. It has nothing to do with the test is bad. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, for me to remember things and learn things, I have to be able to associate it with something that makes sense to me, and it has a benefit to me. My main goal in getting an extra is my buddy Jim, who's my Elmer. He runs the test up here. He needs more VEs. So I want to be a voluntary examiner. If I get my extra, I can do that. I could do a voluntary examination for somebody going for a tech, but he don't need that. He's got plenty of people to do that. He needs another extra in the area. And he's a great guy. He runs it at his house. Every couple of months, he'll run a test session. And it's funny because he's got 3 acres of land out in West Bunnell. And on this property, he's got chickens, he's got dogs, he's got you name it. So while I'm there taking my general exam, a thunderstorm rolled through. So we're sitting in a screened-in porch on the side of his house. And the thunderstorm comes rolling in. The dog starts barking. The chickens are screaming like crazy. And I'm going, how am I supposed to take a test with this going on? I was like, I'm never going to pass this test. I get all done with the test, and my buddy Steve was there too. He was taking it. So I'm sitting there. He goes in the house. There's a big double glass doors. He goes in. He hands the test. They're marking it. The next thing you know, everybody's patting each other on the back, shaking hands. There's all smiles and everything. So I'm like, oh, great. Let me finish this. I finish my test. I bring it in. I hand it to Jim. I go back outside. You thought somebody died. Nobody's smiling. They're all like, ooh. He comes out the door. He goes, what happened? What do you mean what happened? He goes, you know this stuff. You choked. I said, don't tell me. He goes, take this test. It's easier. So now I'm all depressed. I'm like, oh, my God, I failed it, blah, blah, blah. I go sit down at the table. He gives me like another test, a different one. And I start filling out the answer sheet. I'm like, wait a minute, this is an extra test. And I looked up and said, Jim, you gave me the wrong test. This is an extra. He goes, you passed, you idiot. I'm like, you I'm going to get you. I'm going to get him at some point. I'm going to get him so bad because he maybe thought I failed and I actually passed. So I thought that was hilarious. But I've taken the extra test now 3 times, and every time I get 18 wrong. You can only get 13 wrong. So I got to get 5 questions smarter before I take it again. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I am not taking no for an answer. I'm gonna get my extra. All right, Det. Next time, don't be so rowdy. Keep it down.
All right.
That's a troublemaker.
Next time, tell me ahead of time that you want pictures. I always have pictures of our events.
Hey, I do this every Wednesday night. You ever want to come on a Wednesday night? I put the link out publicly, and you can just click on the link and jump in, and I'll put you right in, and you can show me the pictures. So next week, if you want to come back and do that, that's fine with me. You're more than welcome here. All of you. You can come back here every Wednesday night if you want. You got anything special going on at the club, you can come announce it. You got anything you need, you let us know, and we'll get it out there. So, Det, thank you very much. I'm going to say goodnight to you right now. Take care, Det. Glenn, God bless you, man. You're doing a good job with that club. I got to tell you, I was impressed. That was some setup you guys had for field day. And
a lot of good members.
I would love to get more involved with you people in the future sometime. Feel free to get in touch with me anytime. All right?
Good.
All right. Well, this guy's saying, oh, extra here. You got it. Okay. JDL, you want to take the test for me? And Paul Gantz was here. Yay, Paul. How you doing? He's saying 73. All right. So, Glenn, you have a great day. Thank you so much for coming. Like I said, my door's always open. Get in touch with me. You want to do something, I'll be there.
All right, Mike. We'll be in touch.
All right. Take care. Thank you very much. And Rodger, you were a light to my soul. You made me so happy that day. I was so happy you getting your contact, and having you on here is nice to me. I'm glad you came on, and you did it all by yourself. I didn't have to start you up on it like I did with Det. So I'm glad you came. So you have a good night. Everybody sit tight. I am going to say goodbye to Rodger right now, and I'm just going to say a couple of things to the people watching. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We got 17 people here tonight, and I greatly appreciate your support, and you follow me on YouTube. And remember, you're here every week. I'm here every Wednesday. You come by, you got something you want to talk about, you can tell me about it. I'll bring you on the live feed. This is for everybody. This is just one long rag chew to enjoy ham radio and have fun with ham radio. So remember that, all right? This is KO4 PDI. I will say 73, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. At least not without me. 73. All right, we're off the air.
Very good.
There you go.
Oh, wait, we're not. Now we are.